This is the final session of The Symbol Remains. Let's, I'm excited and tired. And you're excited and tired too, right, Andra?
Absolutely.
All right, hell yeah. So, when last we left off, Al was crossing the city in an attempt to find a certain sister of a hitman, in an attempt to find the last link before it disappears forever. But meanwhile, in a time, at least a couple years back by now, sitting in a new diner, Yang,
It's me.
you got a pecan pancake in a pan in front of you right now. You sit right across from your sister. The both of you are... sorry, hang on, I just realized. Where is it? It's playing double for me. I think I have an extra thing up. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. You're sitting right across from your sister. You're eating together.
You see, normal people would immediately notice both of Ruth's buddies right here, while I, a big brain individual, looked here and said, "Oh my, look, it's Pat from Castle Super Beast."
Yeah, he's here. Wow, Pat from Super Beast. Oh my god.
He was turned into a toilet like he always wanted to.
So, you are sitting here, you're enjoying this. The waitress takes away 2 empty cups, steps off again, and Yin ends up just spending that moment enjoying and savoring on this pancake. This is really good. Oh, how did you even find this place? You think? Some coworkers brought you onto this place, actually.
Are the pancakes better than mine?
Let's see. Give me a roll. Give me a
what
pancakes.
Roll?
Pancakes
are
a combination of brains, bronze, and bravery. So give me that 3d6, add those together, and fight Fate's pancakes. You gotta beat a 19 combined, all your stats. Let's go.
Do I get to add my stat bonuses too?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah. That's some good-ass pancakes.
Hinjaku.
They're not as good as your pancakes, but it's pretty incredible that they even managed to get close. And you've never really done pecans in here before, so you're kind of just sampling for ideas right now. And Yen seems to enjoy them, so that's always good.
Indeed.
So, how's work been?
You know, delivering stuff. It's boring, but it's honest work. And the pay is good. How about you? How's school? Everything all right?
She kind of picks into her pancake a little bit. Yeah, actually, it's a lot easier than back in China. It's kind of funny how, well, it's all right. I'm excited for getting into that university afterwards, though. I think I'll be able to. I think I'll be able to do a lot better there.
Good to know.
She kind of thinks a little bit. Yeah, but I mean, it's been a bit rough getting into things again because of I mean, I'm sure you've had some problems with this too, trying to make new friends and stuff. I mean, I'm doing all right, but I've kind of given up on that, at least for this. I'm just gonna get my stuff done, and if I make true friends, I'll make them in college because I'll be there longer. Oh, no.
Yang raises his eyebrows a little bit. You know, never thought you would have any trouble making friends, but color me surprised, I guess.
She kind of like scratches her chin.
Yang becomes serious for a second there, like that murderous aura fills the room. Is anyone bullying you?
She kind of frowns a bit. No, nobody's bullying me. You know they
Good.
couldn't get away with it.
Aura clears. Everything is fine. Colorful, cheery again.
The diner regains its solidity as she's like, "Come on, I could beat up anyone who was bullying me, and I don't mean just with fists. I could beat them up with words too. They don't stand a chance." She continues eating, but I guess it's like, I didn't really think that I'd have a problem either. I guess it's like I'm trying to think like a good metaphor for it or something like that, but it's not really coming to mind, so I'll say it straight.
Arriving in the middle of the year, the groups are already formed, the factions already established.
Exactly.
And here you come, parachuting out of nowhere into the fray.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that, Ian.
Hey, shut up. We're both past that now, so it's fine. I mean, it's not like you didn't do it for. It's not like you. She kind of stops a bit. I don't really even know the full details, but I know you were looking out for me with it, so I'm not angry anymore. She takes another bite. It's just, yeah, we're here now. We got this reality now, so I gotta make do. And yeah, all these niche groups and crap are all everywhere, and no one wants this new girl from out of town to join up with anything. I did meet someone nice. She's really cool. She's mute, but I've actually been picking up some of the sign language around there, and we've been good friends. She's
nice
real
to hear.
rowdy. Yeah, she gets in a lot of fights and stuff, but I've been
Young frowns.
Oh, I mean, she's like, yeah, she's really like you, huh? She
Hey.
smiles at that.
Hey, fair, but don't get involved with delinquents. You're much better than that.
She's not really a delinquent. She's just like, I mean, she's a little lost, like I am. So I'm hoping that, well, at least I'll have a bit of company during high school. I don't know what they're going to be doing afterwards, but it's better than not talking to anyone during lunch or anything like that, you know?
Fair enough.
She kind of leans forward a bit, pressing the half-finished pancake and just kind of pressing her chin against the table. But, yeah. So long as we give it a chance, I think the city can be home.
Yang takes a deep breath. Indeed. Let's try our best.
There's plenty more conversation to be had. A lot of small talk, minor back and forths. Even still, some things being kind of, well, kept from her. Even now, the full extent of what you're doing and how dangerous of a situation you'd find yourself in the city is not to be known by her, and to a certain extent, not even by you. It would be a secret that would be kept for at least a while. But for these moments, at least, for the both of you, there were things you could cherish. And these cherished moments are so easy to recount years later. Let me transfer you over now. You sit in this room. Al, you found yourself here right on time. Well, actually, a little early. It was kind of an interesting situation. You left that one office structure immediately and dug your face down into trying to find this person, this sister. You cross-examined a number of different yeah, you cross-examined a number of different schools and otherwise. You looked around, freshman at university, did some checks, and eventually you got in contact with someone, a contact you had from Apex Group. It wasn't an easy task. honestly, but it wasn't a backbreaking, intelligence required thing. It was just a lot of checking. And regardless, you're actually a little surprised when you got here first, managing to beat past that mysterious stand user and reach her beforehand. You briefly explained the situation and managed to, also surprisingly, be invited in. It seems as though your movements were not entirely unregistered by others, but those that would keep watch over this one seem to agree that your presence could be helpful. For what reasons, you're not quite sure, but at the very least, you did manage to get your talk. And that's where we leave off with you, discussing with Yen here about her brother. As you both sit there and chat, eventually, the conversation dies off, and she picks up again. And yeah, about 2 days after that, he was really late, and it seems to line up with when you were thinking everything happened. So I guess it really was him.
You have my condolences.
Thank you.
But this is honestly not a good time for small talk in the morning. There are people after you.
Yeah, that, huh? Alright. I guess it's... She kind of, looks over. You'd had 2 cups of tea, but they've been drained by this point. I guess it's a thing where I'll just, have to go into hiding again for a little while longer. She kind of sits back. Oh, sort of a real bummer mood sort of sets on the room, and you just kind of sit there and sigh
Fitting
for
Al.
Fitting for Al, yeah. Your cat seems to be relaxing, unfazed by the mood of humans in this instance, as usual. And as you sit there, you're kind of happy that you didn't have to do this yourself, at least the rescuing part. That's fine. Honestly, you're not entirely sure how you would rescue someone. You came in expecting you'd have to do something, but still. Kind of think of it now. This hasn't particularly brought you a step closer. She did give you an outline before you started. A few things about these people. She had had some contact with them. You were able to confirm that this woman, at least to a certain degree, had been stuck with the terrorists for a while. And the reports you received were quite different than the other ones, honestly. There seems to be a lot of conflicting accounts of the attitude of these terrorists. If anything, direct contact will probably be necessary, and you might be able to survive it if you talk about what you said.
It's not like bombs will go off or anything.
Nah. You then think a little more, though. But what hasn't been solved for you, even still, is where they are. And a few other details. You don't know why that stand user's trying to eliminate evidence. You've found out some general details, but there's still more to this mystery. And something about it closet. You could leave this case here, potentially. You could try to research and abandon this case of Yang to the wind and just kind of let it sit there. But there's just something else in the back of your head that's holding you there. This mystery needs to be solved. It's not just an angle of you considering, well, where's my next step? The mystery of this Yang and why they're trying to delete it, that does need to be solved, and you're in the possessed position to do it. But even if you did that, would it really benefit you? Well, no matter. If you don't solve it, you don't figure out why, most likely this woman here will continue to be hunted. So your mind starts picking through again and thinking,
Cigarette.
where? Yep. She kind of looks you take one out and then just like, yeah, you can do that. It's fine.
Al nods. He was going to smoke no matter what, anyways,
Yeah.
but he appreciates it.
Yeah. So you put in a cigarette, light it, and sit down, and you think. You step up and move to the papers that you assembled at the side. No digital stuff this time, not for this case. You had to bring out the old printer and get shit done manually. After all, you've sort of picked up that there's been some sort of data blockage on the information on this case, and you're worried that any information you could get could immediately be swiped again. So, handwritten notes it is as you piece through them, printing whatever you could on an offline computer and getting it all settled out before you as you look. And then you start thinking again, assembling a list of all important events that happened that day. And it hits you again as Yen just kind of looks across. Mementos, something that could be left. Maybe you could divine some clues from that.
Al starts going through the papers, thinking about all the connections. What is linking everything to this case? Why does Yang need to be erased so much? Yang starts thinking about Yang. Al starts thinking about Yang. What is the biggest difference between Yang and the rest of the terrorists? Yang is dead. What does that have to do with complete erasal of information about him?
You think about that a bit. Yeah, continue.
It couldn't possibly be to stop outsiders from looking into this, because JamiroCorp has demonstrated a capacity for complete control over media. They are painting these people as terrorists that must be stopped, and they are making sure no positive things can be said or found on the internet about them. These people are evil, is what JamiroCorp is saying. So why would they try to hide another one of these evil people, even if he's dead? In fact, it would be beneficial for them to show that they have already stopped one of these evil terrorists. It would be beneficial for them. It would make their image better in the eyes of the public. So why are they erasing information? Of course, there's only one possible, a single possible answer to this. They are afraid that this will make problems on the inside of the company. Flashing
Think about
ideas.
that.
Something eating JamiroCorp from the inside.
And as you think about that, something eating JamiroCorp in the side, factional politics. You run through your head and you know a bit. During your initial investigation, before you picked up the full lead with Yang, you managed to tail a woman, Ruth, for a little while. A number of different people that potentially had leads on, a number of people that seemed tied just in terms of public appearances, pictures you could find of, or managed to steal. She was important for figuring some stuff out. However, as you kind of piece it together, though she seemed to be going through some sort of, or showing any form of internal conflict, her relation to Mary, would that be it? And then, no, you don't think so. At least, it could be. It could definitely play a part, but there's no way you could make a call on that in particular. So in terms of internal politics, it would have to be something else. Something about the way the event went down all that time ago. Yang killed a CEO. And then they cleared his name. They kept him alive. And now they're trying to erase his memory when he's dead, but it hits you again. They kept him alive. They kept him alive. Why did they keep him alive? In fact, that is the thing that's almost infuriating to you as you start thinking through it. Why did they let Yang live in the first place? Right across from you, this woman in front of you and him. Yang Sun Yu. What he did was some of the biggest blackmail you could probably imagine for one CEO to have. The elimination of a previous competitor. This is internal politics. This has to be. This doesn't involve this current affair with the terrorist. It was something, a legacy of this case. Something that they'd rather everyone forget. That's what you're sitting on now. You realize that, for some reason, it was absolutely the most beneficial for Yang Sun Yu to be alive, even as a terrorist. And now that he's dead, it's very important that none of the information comes out. None of the information that can link them back. But why? And that's where you hit a road. That's where you hit a rut in the road. Because you don't know why. But if you can pace it down to this case, and all you need to do is figure out what happened in the second half of that day. If he had some journal or something, maybe some information could be in there.
I look at Yin and I will ask her, did your brother leave anything behind? Any papers, any notes, anything?
She kind of looks up, a silence having been listened a bit, but after being spoken to again, she's like, she thinks a bit. Well, he left a will and some items. He kind of thinks, or she kind of thinks a bit.
Do you have it with you?
Yeah. She kind of goes over and goes to the side of her bookshelf and pulls out a will and some journal items and stuff. She hands them over and you start looking. And she kind of stands and looks down.
I take it from her hands. Al looks at her for a moment and says, my mind blanked, actually. I forgot what I was about to say.
That's fine. You just take it. Too much focus on the documents. You just start looking through them. And she kind of stands a bit and then she thinks,
Oh, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, do you know why these people started rebelling against JamiroCorp?
Yeah. She kind of dips her head down a bit. It's Avex Corp told me not to talk about it with people, unfortunately. And I don't know if they're listening, so I can't really tell you.
Well, that is just okay. Al will come here. He will move this curtain to the side so that this lamp is shining here.
Yeah.
He will sit back down in a way that his shadow is covering in.
I gotcha. Now, yeah, you do that, and you feel
counting stars.
As you let that out, your shadow dripping over a small little, an almost insignificant substand for most situations. Something that you couldn't really particularly call more powerful than any other ability, and yet for you, a detective, something that was known as counting stars. A wonderful ability, one that has helped you solve many cases. Conceptually, a shadow is a continuation of one's soul. It falls from a body in many ways, it contains the soul. While every shadow may be casted from objects and otherwise, your stand may move through, lock those down, cause the soul and body to lock up and seize. But when your soul is cast upon someone, when your shadow is dropped upon another, in that moment, the souls are linked. You're able to see things a bit more clearly. And in that way, you end up connecting with the shadow of Yin. And you find out a little bit more, picking through seeing through what essentially is like a darkness and attempting to find any sort of evidence. The most recent question, the shadowed thoughts of the mind, the background, what you just asked. That, what were they rebelling of? And you see the image, like a shadow play in your mind. The image of the sea eyes, bodies being cast together inside. The little science project that replaced yours.
Al crushes his cigarette and holds the burning cigarette within his grasp. His teeth clench, and he stays like that for a moment. Something unlike him. He is usually a calm, sad, and depressed man, but when that image, the carbon interface, the reason why everything that happened to him happened, everything that happened to his friends and his loved ones happened, he becomes enraged for but a moment. Then he lets go, grabs another cigarette, lights it, and starts looking through the papers again.
Yen kind of blinks a bit. Is something wrong?
No. I got exactly what I came for. Well, part of it. The other reason I came here is to keep you safe, honestly.
She kind of actually like looks at you a bit and just like, thanks for the heads up. Don't worry too much. I think I'll be safe. I'll pack my stuff up and head out and see if they can shelter me somewhere.
I don't know if you have any STEM users to help you leave Twilight Zone or whatever that thing is called.
You think you dubbed it Twilight Zone. That seems correct to you.
No, I have a reason why I know
okay.
the name.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Back in the previous session, when the messenger disguised itself as Paul, Al's shadow was cast upon the messenger. And although Al cannot use counting stars on stands, it did allow him to get a glimpse, something out of it.
At least a name. It could not interact, but it did connect. You saw nothing, but you did understand. Twilight Zone, that stand. The only time you've been able to see it without forgetting it moments after. And as you consider that, and you know that she's not a stand user. After all, counting stars is an ability. If someone's not a stand user, they can't perceive that you used it on them. And in this way, she moves forward, pulls through some books again, as she starts to seem inspired by something. Hang on. I'm gonna keep looking through these books. Just, yeah. You piece through and you see this will, and it seems like not much has been left for you here. But after a few minutes,
I mean, why would I be on the will?
Exactly. Yeah.
That wasn't fun.
As you finish through there, Yen produces another book and places it down on the table. And this book, placed directly there, you kind of reminded me of something. When my brother died, he left a lot of stuff to us, but there is a few other things we managed to get later. Just some stuff that was in his room in the place he was staying. So we she kind of passes it over. I've read a few pages in it, but I don't know, it just made me sad, so I didn't really engage with it much. I've been a bit too focused on going forward with other things right now.
Smile.
Yeah, she kind of nods her head, and you want more tea?
I'm fine, thank you.
She kind of nods her head and starts moving off this way. And What are you so scared of? Jeez. So, you start piecing through this journal, and you flip through a few pages, and you try to sort of piece together. It seems to be it's like a weird thing. Angra, let me ask you, if Yang was to keep a journal, what exactly would the contents would be? Would it be more of a confessional, or would you think it would be more of something like for notes of import? What kind of journal would Yang keep?
Yang was a very stoic person. He wouldn't easily let his emotions out. So I believe that if he was to keep a journal, it would be like bullet points of important information
Gotcha.
and
Yeah. Okay.
things that are crucial, and sometimes he would maybe write about things that happened, but mostly just
Yeah. Basically, a list of
professional.
things, a list of things that he wouldn't want to forget, and listed in bullet points to not disclose so much information. He's not trying to write his own confessional here. He's just trying to get a good secret book of notes for himself. You notice a lot of those going through, and you find a number of these notes that seem to date back quite a while. It's interesting. You get a good piece of life, but you could hardly really piece together looking through any selection of these bullet points. They're just honestly, it's like notes at school, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you do get to a page eventually after you start skipping through and trying to find a time scale. You find one page that lists a lot of things you've already figured out. And so you're able to piece together the full affair off of this, at least. You're able to see, to some degree, what was going on. You find a listing of some stand. There was a few notes. One of which is one that you feel like will be your next lead. After the events of that, there was a note of, went to the Pierside Carnival. That was one thing. And as you stop, you put that down a moment and pull out your list. And yes, every single listed thing you could find that was important on that day. And you remember finding a clipping of an article, something very simple. It showed that, well, the Pierside Carnival was closed down indefinitely due to some dangerous chemicals in the water supply around there. It was just in generally a zone that was not safe for any form of entertainment. Too risky. So the company ended up dropping the assets there and got refunded and left. That pier is still probably there right now. And it honestly wouldn't be too unlikely to believe that pier right now is something of a off-limits site for some reason. You couldn't understand why, but you did see something at the very end. Your second list. A bullet point with 3 words on it. Beware the alchemist. And with that, you think you've at least got something of a lead. And so, grabbing your stuff together, you take note of all the important things in that journal, and put it down, grab your papers, and Jens kind of comes back, pours yourself another drink, and takes some, and notices you're already about to leave. Oh. Heading out already, I guess?
Yes, I have to check something. Once again, if you have any friends, security, employees, I don't know, who are Sten users and can at least defend you, it would be wise to call on them right about now. And as Al steps out from the area of the carpet, Yin, for a second, can see his shadow move in a weird way and wave slightly, as I would like to recover my secret actions.
Fair. Feel free to do it. Yeah. As you recover them and you begin to make your way out.
I don't know where the door is. Oh, here.
you head out of here and leave Yen to her own devices. You've got a case to solve after all. And maybe if you can solve this case, she'll be a little safer after all. Let me just cut you over here for a bit. So, you're prepared to depart once more. And let me just move some stuff over here for you.
Yang versus the Blue Oyster Cult. The game.
So, let me just go down there. All right.
Oh, why am I still doing Al's voice when I'm talking out of character? That's a little bit stupid of me. Okay, let's come back to
It's fine.
my
It's
normal
fine.
voice.
So,
tired brain.
There is no difference between tired Angra and normal Al. But yeah, you depart again and head down to the beach. At least one of them. One that's been sort of shut off again due to that high chemical water. And honestly, a self-predicting legacy has almost been made by that, as more and more chemicals were beginning to be dumped in this area now. After it was locked off, I imagine that companies just decided, well, if we're going to make something up, we might as well make it true. And this entire beach ended up being sort of shut down for that reason. But regardless, when you left, you began moving with your thoughts in tow, thinking about what would happen next. What would happen here? And you start to run down those bullet points in your head as moving forward into this mysterious pier park.
Oh! No, wait. Don't, never mind. Keep going.
Okay. Yang?
That's me.
All right. You are heaving as you finally make it to this spot. Stepping on through this park. It was the rendezvous point if everything else failed, and it did. You were supposed to make your way here because this was going to be your refuge. The last stand against the mysterious stand that was pit against you. That stand known as the Alchemist. The post-death released stand of that CEO. So you move, catching your breath for a moment, and continue stepping on in to this park.
Is this happening right after...
Yes, right after you killed that guy.
Okay. Yang is taking pieces of cloth and patching up his wounds as he walks in. He does a fairly good job. He can probably keep fighting for a little more if needed.
Yeah. And you kind of look, and as you look ahead, breathing, checking your ammunition and everything, you know the ammunition's not going to work, not against it. So, honestly, you take trap of your ammunition, but think it more to look around and what you could shoot to maybe get an advantage. And as you look out into the horizon of the nights and the drifting ocean, you see something that restores your morale just a little bit as you continue stepping on into this little abode. And not too far behind, some years later, Al, you walk up into this very same parkway, not touched for years on end, as you start moving with a steady pace in here.
Wow. Clown skull. Oh, tacky.
Never did like this place. You tried going here once, a while ago. Looks like it got even more tacky since last time.
Before stepping onto the wood, Al would like to take a look to see, like, how are things doing? Do I need to watch my step to not fall in the ocean?
It hasn't been repaired in a couple years, but it still seems to be generally standing. A lot of stuff seems to be hanging loose and dirty. Oh, stand! Secret action. It's definitely
Al lights
more
a cigarette.
It's definitely more rickety than it would be previously. You'd have to be careful. If there's some damage, even if it's unseen, you'll definitely need to watch your step. So, with that in mind, though, the entrance seems to be undamaged, so you move on inside. Maybe the secret will lie within here after all. As you start moving into this carnival.
All right. Let me just go to the next man. Okay. Almost ready. I didn't have this icon on there yet, so let's fix that. So, Yang,
Me.
you move into this boardwalk a little deeper. And as you press...
Wow, it's so cool in here.
Yeah, you look at this varied carnival. You never really been to a carnival bar, and you kind of wanted to. Though, unfortunately, circumstances have not really benefited you. Seems like they closed it down and got everyone out, so that helps. You contemplate how quick you could potentially get on some carnival rides, and then you feel like a little presence, something small in the back of your head. Your instincts go off. You really don't have much time at all now, do you? But you might have a few moments. Yang, what do you do?
What is this?
It's a water dunking tank.
Good. Are there any kinds of explosives here? Like some unused fireworks?
Gosh, there could be for a brain score.
Do I still have grenades? I don't think I have those anymore.
You don't have those anymore, but you do.
Yeah,
you
sure.
Can spend a brain score, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
While you're checking out, so spend a plot score. As you turn around, you realized in this tent, there's a collection of fireworks.
Yang will grab them all, use a little rope to tie them in a bundle. Put a little fuel on them just for good measure. And
you take up these fireworks. It's like legacy grenades. You remember them from your childhood.
And strategically position them under this water tank.
Okay. You do so, getting that set up, and as you do get that set up, you hear a sound, a rustling, and then something more than a rustle, as crawling forward, pushing itself by the tentacles and otherwise, a stand begins crawling its way at you. And with that...
You don't give up, do you?
Give me an initiative roll, my friend.
You don't give up, do you?
Wordlessly, it begins to spring into action. I think that's...
Nope.
There we go. Oh, wow. That's bad.
Yang has stupid initiative and I love it.
Yeah. Oh, actually, it's 5 less due to the new system, but that's still 8. You still do it, so yeah. Okay, let's see. So, you go first. So, as you go, luckily, you've gained the advantage already. So, Yang, take the first step.
Yang will light the fuse. No, he won't light the fuse. He will light the fuel on top of the fireworks, making them go out basically instantly. And he jumps to not get blown up by the fireworks. And
Alrighty.
as the explosion goes off, water gets thrown in the air. And as it starts to drop, Riders on the Storm manifests.
That's pretty clever, my friend. Yeah, the temporary shadow is long enough to get your first rider out. As Pale Rider clicks from underneath the rain, appears in front, and stands there ready with a sight.
Everyone is blind.
Yeah. Mist pools out from underneath the rain, as eventually the rain stops, and instead this beginning of this smoke cloud is formed. But in that moment, for that first turn, you have Pale Rider, so use them how you like.
I would like to bring out White Rider.
Main action. Oh, you want to? Okay, you can spend your main action to then bring out White Rider if you want to.
Oh no, White Rider only lasts one turn, so I wouldn't be able to use him if I brought him out.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, that's a shame. So indeed.
You have Pale. You do have Pale though, so even if White Rider won't last long, Pale Rider's here, and Pale Rider's great. Pale Rider can kick anyone's ass, right?
Seize all across the board, baby. Except speed. Okay. What do I do? What do I do indeed? What are these?
Those are little lamps, like lanterns that hang up.
Mm-hmm. I see. Pale Rider will move his scythe and do a few slashes to the general area around him, and I will set a secret action.
Ooh, okay, sounds good.
I would like to take 5 seconds to bring out MS Paint.
Okay.
Mark some things real quick.
Mark some things on the map. Fair enough. Yeah, feel free to.
And send these to our ever-present spectator, Jay.
So it is written.
So it is written. And that's about it for my turn, I believe.
All right, sounds good. Yeah. As
I will move a little bit here.
yeah, fair. So you move back a bit, and slithering a bit, you can't really see it, but moving a bit forward, something kind of tries to seem to shift through a little bit, and without seeing it, you hear the sound of something cracking and breaking a little bit, and you're kind of like, what was that? What's that? And as you start to move a little, you hear creaking. That sounds like the ocean waves pressing against the pier, but it's not. As Yang, I want you to make a speed roll for me. From your stand.
I'm good at those.
Yeah.
HR 3d6 plus 4 because of my trait.
All right. Let's see. So. Oh.
How did you get a plus 15, you bastard?
Oh, plus 15. What are you talking about? I got a plus 2. Oh, it would have. You should be happy. It would have escalated if they didn't have a plus 2. Because I want to remind you, they don't have a bizarre field out because you know what they do.
Yep,
Their last bonus action is stronger every time he fights you, so it's a plus 2 now. And so, churning out from underneath, these tentacles with their sharp pronged edges seem to fly upwards, penetrating into your leg very slightly, as Pale Rider barely manages to push you out of the way before more of them swing up and hit you.
Bitch!
Of course, you cannot ride Pale Rider, but it can hit you away like a stick, like a bat, and you kind of bounce up against this tent and kind of fling off a bit, as emerging out, as the next turn starts, once again the mist begins to settle away as rain
Wait a
starts
second,
pouring
Christian.
down. Oh yeah?
While coming here, did it go through here, here, or here?
Ah, but this is the thing, Angra. As the mist starts to clear, you gaze across and you look. This thing, it didn't go over those spots. It went under. It dug a hole straight under the pier and then emerged from underneath the floorboards.
Whack-a-mole it is then.
And then it pulls itself out from under and is now facing straight with you again. And so as the mist clears, you are now face to face with it. As the mist becomes rain, Pale Rider is now maintained here.
An interesting fact about Yang.
Mm-hmm.
Riders on the Storm is a very powerful stand. No one will deny that fact. But it kind of sucks at 1v1s. It kind of does.
Yeah, unless you can get your wombo combo go. You see, really, Yang is a rushdown character, and unless you can get your red rider combo, Pale Rider, white rider combo loop going, you're not good at neutral.
I'm not good at neutral.
You're not good at neutral.
I gotta get in there. The problem is this thing is zoning the fuck out of me.
So, you have to ask yourself how you're gonna build
this thing is a
meter.
charge character.
Yeah. So, It is your turn, however, though.
What is this?
This tent.
Yeah.
It's a carny tent.
It's a what?
It's a tent for performances and otherwise.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
Probably had some animals run on in here and some shit.
Anything dead?
Anything dead, you say?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately not. Nothing left
Very
over
nice.
and dead in this spot.
Okay, Angra, think JoJo. Even though the last time you did that against Brennan, you got steamrolled, but... EMP! I'll use an EMP!
Your stands are not immune to EMP!
Yeah, but he'll pull out an anti-EMP wall or some bullshit like that. I know how these fights go, Christian. Well, let's stick to the basics then. I will attack with Pale Rider.
Alrighty. So, you're gonna go in and slice at them.
Oh, wait. I do remember one thing. This thing is an automatic stand, right?
It seems to be, yes. It is an automatic stand.
And it appears to at least look at me and see me, right?
Yes.
And it was wearing clothes, and it was using a motorcycle.
Yes.
White Rider, Pale Rider will use its scythe to hook this tent and wrap this thing and run in circles and wrap this thing with the tent while also carving it up with the scythe a little bit.
Alright.
Attempting to carve it up with the scythe.
I'll say, give me a speed roll to get it over it.
Getting over it.
Let's see. Oh, cool. So, yeah, you managed to toss the 10 over it. And I will say that despite being unable to get any actual real damage on it by doing this, or else I would have you roll power, your speed did manage to get this tent over it a bit and kind of like wrap it up, and you managed to just toss it back and it gets jumbled in this tent. And you notice a number of tentacles just kind of fly out and start trying to cut into it. But it's taking its sweet time since you've really cut into the knots, and it's not trying to hurt itself through doing this. So you are given an extra turn here to just do something else. And you can get a bit more time with this.
What are these things? I would like to know, like, my surroundings a little bit more.
So, let me hit you with that. This is another tent. Over here is a kind of confectionery stand where they'd sell some sort of goods. There are two of them, and in that direction is the pier. Like the end of the pier, so there's a dock, and as you look over there, you start to realize, Yang, this is your lucky day. Because drifting in from the sea is fog.
Yes, I was about to say, what time was it? Because fog usually starts to roll in when daybreak starts to come. So that was my strategy. Good shit.
So yeah, it looks like your answer to victory is that direction. So long as you can make it there.
I would like to run here. And I would like to spend a plot point to have a boat waiting docked to the pier. Can I do that?
I will say no, because in this case, that wasn't a part of their plan.
Fair enough.
This is actually a part of a plan, so getting over to the pier is basically going to be what you do. So yeah, hold on to that plot point. Meanwhile, though, you depart off with Pale Rider heading towards the pier. And
can I bring out White Rider?
Once you get there, there's another map, so I'll show that to you.
Dope.
But
yeah.
Meanwhile, Al,
you're really gonna take me out of this?
As you begin to move forward into this area, you start to press ahead, and you're like, okay, so you need to start looking around a bit more deeply for some kind of evidence or some kind of hint. You kind of peek through and you notice that there's kind of a carved hole and broken splinters here, and it looks like something tried to claw its way out as you keep going forward. it definitely seems like it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to consider this potentially being some form of an owl. As the words "stand fight" drift to your head, you feel something. Something that seems to shift about the environment you find yourself in. As suddenly...
Help! I'm stepping into the Twilight Zone!
As you begin to process this, this feels way too familiar. And coming from behind, you hear footsteps of your own, and it causes you to push forward. You need to go. You need to go now. You need to go quicker.
Al steps over these, and he takes note of something. Due to his secret action, this part of the map doesn't really break at this exact moment, but he takes note that these wooden boards are indeed weakened by some slashes.
Nice. Cool.
It has to do with my secret action.
I know. Don't worry. So, as you stand there, you kind of stand staring straight forward, and you hear footsteps behind you, and a voice ring out. But no matter how much you want to turn and see the stand user, you don't do it immediately. After all, you imagine their stand hangs right behind you. As you hear the voice.
So, that's who we're dealing with, huh? All right, then. Well, what makes you so curious about what's going on over here, detective?
A strong sense of morals and a wad of cash.
Oh, well. I can get the second part. Shame, though. I don't think either of those things are worth dying over. Why don't you turn on back right now and pretend you never saw anything? You know? Just turn around, take a look, and you'll forget everything.
I have an inkling of a suspicion that even if I surrender and try to walk out of here, you will shoot me at least 6 times in the head.
You hear a silence from behind.
Well, you kind of got me there, bud. Afraid you already picked the wrong crowd to intermingle with. Sorry.
As Arndra,
Yes.
I want you to roll initiative. Okay?
Double combat, baby!
All right. So let's see what hers is. Oh, that's really good, actually. Oh, you were just barely there. All right, so as you stand up, you're ready to go, and you hear the voice once more from behind. And one thing, I'm not gonna wait to shoot you in the back of the head 6 times. As suddenly, from behind, gunshots start ringing out as you're forced to move. So give me a roll here.
I would like to look at my character sheet.
Okay, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I have a gimmick item that will help me with this.
Oh my god, you might not need the help. Yeah, maybe just roll bronze first, see what happens.
Oh, that's can I use my stand?
If you can think of a way to use your stand. But I'd try bronze first, just to see if it worked. I'm really curious. I'm really curious if you could beat this, honestly.
I do have a trait to add to this. It is a special
being a
trait
coward.
from Year of the Cat.
Oh, okay.
It is no blind spots.
Right,
As
yeah.
long as Year of the Cat is active, which it is due to my secret action, Al cannot be hit by surprise.
Yeah, and this is definitely that, so I'd say that works. So, with that in mind, you manage to dodge over to the side and get behind this and kind of duck low. The shots ring out. She's not too great of a shot, but then again, you imagine she doesn't need to be. And as you kind of start sitting there, she starts moving forward.
That activates my secret action!
Yeah! A secret action, technically set 2 years ago. So yes, tell me what happens there.
Okay, this is a combo secret action, Christian.
Okay.
As Yang's secret action activates, these planks of wood crumble underneath her weight, dropping her down into the ocean. And then Al's secret action activates. Year of the Cat was underneath the wooden boards, tailing Al and basically encompassing most of the pier due to its frankly stupid range.
Yeah. It managed to stick under
The moment her feet break under the wood, Year of the Cat will wrap around her shadow and by consequence her body and drag her down into the depth of the ocean.
Alright. Give me that secret action roll then. I'm gonna give you, I'd say that's a 3d6 because it's playing off of Yang shit too. And you add your brains to it.
Yeah. Do I add my brains? Okay, can I also add my trait?
Let me think.
Even
I think
though
in this case,
this doesn't count as a combat.
yeah, this wasn't really. Yeah.
Yeah,
so I
this
think just
doesn't count.
Yeah.
21.
That's still really fucking good. So, yeah, let me. All right.
Oh, as she is falling, Year of the Cat wraps around, and by that I forgot to mention driving the broken pieces of wood into her body. I forgot that part. Very important.
This is it's like an Iron Maiden almost. You've created an Iron Maiden of shadow, water, and wood as you try to impale her straight down.
Oh, very important detail too. Since Year of the Cat works based on shadow, the moment she breaks the wood and starts falling, Al will throw his cigarette to create a light source so that the stand can wrap around and crush her. Okay.
Was that in your secret action, my friend?
No, but I will spend a plot point to make that happen.
You want to spend the plot point to...
I just want to explain why it works.
Yeah, fair. So yeah, you can spend a plot point to keep that locked in. However,
I'm sweating already. Fuck.
Well, let me roll for her first. Let me roll this. Let's see. And do I have anything to do? Okay. Nice. All right. Okay, yeah, that's not gonna do much. She's gonna spend some bravery to deduce that a bit, but yeah, you snap in and you hear her crunching as she falls underneath the surface there.
Sorry, not sorry.
So, as you go, you
go back
start
to Yang?
okay. No, actually, not quite yet.
Nice.
You stop, and that moment, as you turned around to flick that cigarette, by necessity, you needed to toss it in there. And as you go, something frozen directly behind you.
Good.
Sitting there. You look at it. You had to. And as you do, your memory starts to lapse for this next course of events. And now, we can cut back a bit to Yang. Let's see.
I'm sweating.
Well, no need to sweat. It's fine.
No, my room is fucking hot.
No need to sweat. It's fine. Okay, so Yang.
I'm stepping out of the Twilight Zone.
You move straight across the pier, fog beginning to pull in at all sides. Stepping forward, you turn around and you hear ripping and tearing as the tent itself is torn to pieces and the stand begins moving with increased vigor. And you can put out Pale Rider, he's still here. It's raining on top of the fog here, which I'll put that down for you. And getting back to you guys, I'm going to add you to the initiative order. You're still on your last initiative.
my
There
turn,
we go.
I believe.
Yep, it is.
Okay. Yang will run to the corner of the pier, and he will unsummon White Rider, a Pale Rider, and will instead bring out White Rider, as he now has a very nice shooting range.
Yes, you do. You have almost the perfect line. A last charge of this stand. If you can just shoot it and hold it down, that should be all you need.
Remind me, Christian?
Huh?
What can I do with my muscle points? I forgot the name of the thing.
Bravery?
Yeah,
Your
I think
resolve?
that?
You can
Resolve.
re-roll. You can re-roll with
Reroll?
them or reduce damage, yeah.
Okay.
So,
There were other things I could do. Wasn't one of the abilities like attack again or something
yeah,
like
you
that?
can spend one to use another main action on your turn, yes.
Okay, I can only do that once per turn, I believe.
Yes.
Or can I?
Once
Good.
per turn. So, at the start, White
Play
Rider
testing
begins.
all over again, baby.
Yeah. So, make those shots as this thing begins rearing up to charge at you across the way.
Call me Robin Hood, bitch. I have the ruler selected. Let me go. Stand roll. A 15.
All right. Let me see now. Okay. Roll as well. I know exactly. I was going to try to deal with this.
The benches.
So, you begin firing. And as you fire, holy fuck.
Fucking hell.
You fire that first shot, it rings out through the air, and as that happens, the arrows find purchase actually, and are immediately chopped out of the sky, spreading some ice on a tentacle that it then chops off and lets discard back onto the floor there. It manages to discard this without very little care as it keeps moving forward. But, point, you can fire again. As once more, despite this, your salvo is not done. Firing across as this thing attempts to approach you yet again.
Let me
releasing
check my
another arrow.
traits just to make sure. Let's see. Yeah.
Sorry for making you bounce back between two different characters, but that's the nature of this. Oh, fuck. All right, let's see. Oh, shit, okay.
Yeah.
Now, the second time, as this continues approaching, you need to change it up a bit. With your precision, you manage to aim forward, and after another salvo fire as you prepare a second blow. In that instance, that middle ground. Although it can deflect them, it must discard its tentacles until a new one emerges. And because of that, there's a blind spot. In that moment of regrowing and discarding, there is a way to hit. And so, as you fire, it cuts away, cutting a part of your salvo until one last shot, a precision shot straight into this thing's head. An arrow piecing right down into it as ice begins to freeze across, slowing it substantially. However,
Speed rank dropped by 1.
Yup. It's dropped by 1. But as you
To a
watch
B.
it continue moving forward... Oh no, you don't know what its speed is. It's not using its speed on you. This isn't using its power. It's straight up trying to bull rush and cut down your arrows. So, as that happens, you notice it still starts to move forward. It spends 2 bravery points to not take any damage. It does, however, still move forward at a slower pace. This thing, this creature, now as it turns, shows up. It starts moving as quick as it can, which turns out is only about there. But, despite it being unable to move, yes, you're right, the tentacle does reach forward and grab around this bench. It lifts it up and launches it at you like a projectile.
I will use my speed to dodge.
All right, sounds good. Oh.
Ooh.
Oh. So, you manage to use your speed. White Rider grabs your coat and pulls you to the side. However, as it crashes against the pier and breaks, some of the force it was thrown, some of the benches, the bench parts seem to shatter and spread. You feel shrapnel cutting into you. You take 2 damage. And now it's your turn
keep
again.
Going.
Yep.
Shoot!
Shoots!
This has become a simple battle of
Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Well, let's see what it does.
If you manage to roll under 9, I will laugh at you.
Oh, wow. No, not really, but
I can I use one of my points to re-roll that one?
yes, you could. Damn, you're running out of bravery quick, my friend, but sure. I mean, what can you do? Die? No. God. Yang dies here, and it's revealed the entire time Yang was just this thing. Oh, wow, yeah, that's a lot better. Sure, by 6 points. You managed to... Actually, you know what? It's also going to spend a bravery to reroll. Alright, so...
The Steam user is dead! Why can't he use bravery to re-roll?
That's an interesting question, Angra.
Where's Red Rider when I need him?
Okay, well, he still loses, but by a lot less damage. So, basically, I would have...
Doesn't
Wow, yeah, I
matter,
think that's
speed drop.
literally... Yep, speed drop. It's down to E now. One more and it can't move. This thing,
Actually... No, you're right. You're right. You read my thing and I didn't. I'm stupid. Punch me.
Oh, I'm planning on it. So, is it its turn now? I
No.
believe so.
Point!
All right. You're down to one of those now, mister. You better be conservative about that. Give it a roll. Let's go.
Oh, boy.
Oh, fuck. Wow. Oh. Damn. Good shit. Let's see. Oh, you know what, though? I'm going to have it spend a bravery to try and re-roll that 1 dice that's a 3 and see if I can get higher. Yes, it clashes!
Clashes!
Cancellation, let's go!
Oh, boy.
Oh, fuck! Nope,
Oh,
nope,
yes!
nope. Nope, 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 nope. I'm not doing that. Last bravery, it's gonna re-roll. And you have your last bravery too, right? Or no? I think so.
Yes,
okay.
This is my last one.
All right, so I'm going to re-roll the 2 and the 1 and keep the
Wait,
4.
let me count. Okay, I used 1 to shoot again.
Okay.
I have one more.
All right. Give me one moment here. So that's going to be 15 by the looks of it. So, or 16. So you're going to need to beat a 16.
I'm gonna re-roll that 1.
All right. Oh, is that enough?
17.
Oh, fuck yeah, you did it just by 1. So, after that salvo, this thing continuing to crawl forward, moves forward with 1 step. It starts firing its own tentacles into the air to try to counteract them. And you manage to stop it in that moment. You manage to cut into it and almost freeze it solid. And in that moment, you sigh a relief as this thing has been frozen over. And you feel that you managed to claim a victory for yourself.
Just gonna keep shooting at it. Pot
That
shots.
is. The
Oh,
moment
no.
that it freezes, you aim up to fire again, and the alchemist is going to burn a learning point
Oh no!
as this thing, you note it start to shake a bit. You once again prep your arrow and begin ready to fire. You have to break it. You have to destroy it.
It also succeeds. It auto succeeds.
Yup, it does. As you prepare, I'm gonna need you to make a speed roll for me already as I'm narrating this. So, as you prepare, this thing almost seems to shake and toil. This thing was born from that president's abilities, and it seems to have one singular purpose. An automated stand, after all. And as any automated stand does, it'll stop at nothing to achieve its tasks. It has no purpose, no desire beyond obtaining its victory. Hang on.
Can I do one thing real quick? As a reaction to it coming at me?
It explodes, Angra!
It explodes!
It explodes!
Stop exploding our characters, Christian!
The shell explodes outwards, breaking through the ice as shards of ice and shrapnel just fly out, piercing around. It auto-succeeds this attack. It does 20 damage. And minus that by 9, that's 11. What were you going to do?
I'm going to dismiss Pale Rider. White Rider.
All right. Well,
I don't take like 5 times the damage.
Yeah, fair. That actually isn't a mechanic anymore. Don't worry about that. But
really?
Still, yeah, really. You don't take extra damage if your thing has low durability.
What does it affect now?
It just affects your health that you roll at the beginning of your combat. The more you know. So, you can keep White Rider if you want. You might need it. And as you move, this thing explodes. Shrapnel flying out and impacting you. Take 11 damage. And meanwhile, in the future,
stop exploding our characters, Christian, please.
I can't stop. Can't stop. Won't stop. So, Al, you are standing. You've come back to attention. Why are you? Wait, what's going on here? Something happened. Something happened that affected your movement. Damn it, you can't remember again. You spend a secret action, by the way.
Yep.
As you kind of start moving through here, but why over here? Why did you come this way? You can't remember, but it had to do with something. But regardless, I'll put that secret action on you. There's something you know even more. Coming from behind you.
Question, Christian.
Yeah.
Does the cat know?
The cat also saw, so the cat does not know.
Damn it all.
Remember, your cat can see things.
It can see things indeed. And even if it couldn't, it would affect them anyway, so who knows?
Yeah. So, Angra, as you turn again, you once again notice the stand approaching. But this time, there's only one thing you know. You still have a plan, and you think your plan will be in motion regardless of what happens. So the best thing you could do is turn and fight. So as you turn around, you see this thing again, and you dip under that spell once more. This time, you're going to see this part of what happens when you fight Twilight Zone. So, your eyes glaze over, but you have full attention. Roll initiative for me.
Again?
Actually, no, we still got it. I'll add you to the list again. It should be fine. So, there we go. Twilight Zone kind of drifts up a bit. It seems to float around and watch you and wait for your action. And almost surprised, it realizes you're not fleeing this time. It seems to keep its distance and pull away from the lanterns that are slightly shining in the fog. Unfortunately, this really is your unlucky day. The fog is totally fucking with the shadows and ruining your ability to do things here. There's nothing you hate more for a stand fight than a foggy day.
I hate that weather.
And as this thing kind of sticks to the fog and outside of the range of your shadows in sight, it starts to move forward, and moving over a place where a bench would be, it starts to, well, kind of float immediately out of range. And through the fog, it just kind of seems to sit there, waiting. And, yeah, it's sitting in there. What's your turn? It's your turn now.
I was hit by the Twilight Zone, I can think.
Yeah, you got nothing. So, as you're sitting there in the Twilight Zone, you're like, okay, you don't have much of an idea, so all you can really do right now is try to find a shadow.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know where I can find one. Right under me.
Absolutely.
Al will use Year of the Cat to go under the floorboards and, using its claws, slash them apart, making him fall into the water.
There's one problem. Currently, due to the fog effect, the light underneath the actual floorboards isn't really casting a shadow. It's
Not
not
even
dim.
with the
It's
moon?
not. The moon isn't piercing through them right now. Not at least where
Huh.
you're standing. There seems to be a bit more space over here.
Mm-hmm. Let's follow the GM. Let's go here.
You step on over there. One more thought. One more thought in your mind. You have your lighter on you?
Always.
Yeah. You
I
pull out
tossed
the
a
lighter.
cigarette on my lighter.
Yeah. You have a lighter, so you light it and put up the light behind you, kind of like how one would hold a torch, and attempt to cast your shadow around your surroundings to attempt to, at least in some ways, trap something that approaches you. And
While I'm at it, I light a cigarette.
all right, yeah, I mean, might as well. It'll help you focus in the situation. Maybe you'll remember something. So, in that moment, you hear a slight ripping and a tearing sound as Twilight Zone's turn comes again. And finally, you see the thing that was coming at you. I want you to roll, you could probably roll your stand with it. Roll your stand's speed.
I'm actually not bad at those.
All right, so let's see. All right, you launch forward your stand. The light cast very dim but still there of your lighter behind you. You manage to kind of redirect and catch immediately in front of you a wooden plank, I guess. That's interesting. And then you realize something. No, hang on. The plank, it begins to shift, catching on shadows but then falling again. Why? You immediately, almost actually before you do anything, Stevens leaps forward and smacks it, jumping off of it with his hind legs, and sends the actual
messenger.
plank filing off of there. No, a messenger.
No?
Perhaps one of those things. That would be scary. But that's not what it was. It was straight up dynamite hidden behind the actual plank of wood tossed at you. It was a delayed time bomb, and Stevens barely managed to save you from it.
Oh,
As
you
it
buddy.
falls off, the firework explodes and skids off in the direction of the beach. And for a moment, there's a flash of light that casts a shadow on the pier, even through the fog. As your turn comes.
So, do I know if the bitch is actually underwater?
You don't know where she went, unfortunately.
Can I use my stand to look underneath the pier?
Not currently. Actually, yes. For a moment, you can, because as I described, there is a large light spread from the firework. So, in that moment, you send your stand out and you look, and that moment of flare manages to have you check, and you can confirm, no, she's not underneath. And after that temporary spark fades and the light disappears, your stand withdraws back to your own natural shadow as the pier itself descends back into that glum, foggy nothingness. But, start moving back. Twilight Zone once again begins to shift out in front, sticking outside of the range of your shadow, but still hovering there. And in that moment, backed up against here and the fog, you have one option in front of you. You begin stepping back against the edge of the pier. This is a last stand, at least for now. And so you start running through a number of plans. Something that you can tell yourself. Something that, when you move to the other side, you'll be able to signal what it is. Something to save you. And, standing right next to you, a couple years ago, Yang.
That's
Let
me.
pop that back.
Who the fuck is this guy next to me? When did he
There
get
we
here?
go. The new form shows itself. Underneath, not covered in half as much of that crumbling carapace that surrounds it, this thing seems more agile and fast now. This thing has learned some new form. It's redirected its focus. It's increased its speed.
I really wish this wasn't a spin-off so I could use my development potential, but let's go.
So, God, yeah, this is my secret technique I'll never use. That's pretty JoJo, honestly. But, no, for now, you, oh wait, I realize he's still there. Hang on, yeah, that's why you're making that joke. Goodbye. As you start moving forward, this thing almost seems to approach a bit closer and closer. And as that happens, a plank of wood flies straight through it. And it turns and looks as Yang, a ways across from you, you notice something. Someone's come to help you. Just as planned. JamiroCorp's second agent on this case. Someone who could help you deal with the follow-up stand. As standing across, this woman seems to approach upwards. And as she does, drawing its attention for a moment, good job bringing out to the pier. That'll help. You see, as emerging out from him, hey, bud, why don't you close your eyes real quick, okay? Trust me, it's gonna be fine. You close your eyes. And in that moment, a stand activates. Emerging out, an aura seems to just kind of appear on the spot. A stand drifting out, slipping across the body, kind of in a way that makes no real sense to look at it appear. Different forms shifting and emerging and clicking together like invisible bricks in its own existence. And then spiraling, swirling, as from behind, the Twilight Zone begins to encompass everything in its surrounding. And whoops, let me bring Yang back. I just need to see something.
I really love these back and forth, I must say.
Yeah! And Yang, you keeping your eyes closed, you at least feel it. This feeling of encompassment of a stand effect. Without a doubt, what she just did will be to your benefit. This is a stand effect that could push things to the other end of these this can change things. This can turn it around, basically. All right.
Tip the scales.
Tip the scales. That's it. That's the expression. Thank you. So, here you go. And let me drop your stand here as well. I need to give you control of it, but your boy, yeah.
Skeleton with a gun!
So, as this thing turns around and sees that sand, it sort of grows confused. But at the same time, it's time to move. So Yang, let me just add her to the initiative. Actually, we know what her initiative is. It's 11. So, let me just pop you back on the initiative order real fast. And we'll get this back going. So you're 8, and it was 6. So, starting out from across you, this stand user moves a bit to the side and gauges the battlefield. Twilight Zone shifts over to the other end and kind of starts drawing attention. It leaps up through the air and just kind of lands directly across in front of you, dragging. And then shifts over behind you. All right, open it up, but don't look behind you.
Yang does so.
As you do so, you feel a presence behind you, as this thing again stares, but regardless, you have control. You have to give that a couple seconds to really get going. Excuse me, I'm gonna back off. It looks a little pissed off. She starts stepping back into the fog, almost disappearing like a specter, as you feel a stand behind you benefiting you. And now, you can go again.
Yang is pretty hurt. He's at half health. He had basically just recovered a little bit from a fight he had a few minutes ago, so he is hurting pretty bad. I would imagine his clothes are soaked in blood, probably?
Yeah.
Yang removes his purple coat that he cherishes quite a bit, He then rips off his shirt, throws it in the air. White Rider will shoot the shirt at the alchemist, and as the arrow impacts, Red Rider's blade will come out of the shirt and tear into the alchemist.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, give that a roll then. Give it a precision roll.
That's a 15.
All right, let's see. That's a... Oh my god, it rolled a 1 and a 1 and a 2. It begins to move quickly, but it seems to...
Red Rider can finally be cool!
Yeah, it seems to have, it starts to move. You seem to have confused it momentarily. It thought it just had to dodge the jacket. It didn't comprehend you might make the jacket go quicker. And so the arrow clicks into it as you feel this thing getting confused. Wait, no. It wasn't just confusion. This is more. It didn't remember. It didn't remember exactly what you were doing in that moment. And because of that, your friendly stand user...
so much stronger when you have an ally.
Yeah. So, because of that, Angra, add an extra +5. Jab adds one of her plot scores to you. So, that way, that's a 20 now. So, 14 minus there. Okay, yeah. You do 14 damage as Red Rider emerges out, crawling its way out from you, and then tracing the path, the blood, emerging and cutting straight into this thing, severing a part of it in half almost. It seems pretty damaged on that one. As then, its
Red Rider
shows up.
probably vanishes because
it does.
To sustain it.
Yeah. With that one attack, though, you managed to damage it quite a lot.
I love using Red Rider like this.
Yeah, it's like a shotgun blast. So, with that, however, the stand shifts around a little bit and shoves forward, its body almost falling apart, but regardless, it tries to go straight at you and cut into your flesh. Let me just roll this. +2. Oh, wow. So, give a roll. However you want to counter.
Yang will do a split, and will drop down to the ground, and from his mangled hand, he will do an uppercut, and out comes Red Rider's blade.
Nice. You do that then, as... Okay, give that roll then.
Red Rider's power, can I use that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, you go in, and White Rider's at your side, but you're going to meet this thing. It's fast, but in this way, you can call the shot. You pull out and swing up an uppercut long before he reaches you, but through the distance you're closing, you know it'll be just in time. That uppercut goes as blood splashes straight out and flies out of your sleeve, droplets forming, just enough purchase for Red Rider's blade to emerge out and cut straight into it. You feel a stab as it goes through this thing directly, and the thing just kind of sits there momentarily. It stalls, and as it stalls, you realize that, okay, alright, it's just enough time. This thing, according to the brief, it's hypothetically unkillable, but that doesn't matter, because you managed to wound it enough, and White Rider flies up. While this thing is unable to resist, with your secondary action, White Rider fires forward arrows into this thing's flesh. Ice starts to freeze it and make it almost turn completely solid once more. But this time, it doesn't have any carapace to blow itself out of. With this, White Rider manages to freeze this thing shut. And as that happens, you feel the presence behind you shift, but you keep your eyes forward, as approaching out from the fog, someone, is moving up. Excellent job. Excellent job. Only one more step in this master plan. And as she says that, in a very similar situation years later, Al, you wake up. Right in front of you, you see the stand user. Again, something happened. But you had to have a plan. Yeah, you had to have had a plan.
Now it's only time to see, as held in your hand, you're in a pretty obviously losing situation, as you see. Twilight Zone has lifted you up. In fact, let me just let me do something real fast. Oh, I can't with this one. Okay, never mind. Yeah, Stevens is gone. I can't change it on this icon, but Stevens fucking bailed. So, as he does.
Cat.
Yeah. So, being held up, lifted aloft, you're hanging as you hear the sound of the wave shifting up from behind you, and there's a sizzling. In one hand, you're being lifted up, but your shadow can't cast because right in front, being held, a lit firework is being pointed, and the shadow is being cast in your direction instead of the inverse. As you're held here, you realize what's about to happen. This firework is going to explode, and you're going to be sent rocking back, burning into the ocean. And as that realization sets on you, you feel an unexplainable calmness still set across from you. As a stand user, I'm not going to make that mistake again. You notice that she's pretty banged up from what you managed to pull off. That was a successful attack. Though you can't remember how she broke off, you do know that it just wasn't quite enough for some reason. What did you see? What? No, wait. Underneath the pier, you had a bit of sight before the fog rolled in. You feel like there's missing. What did you see? And almost fruitlessly, you try to search for that answer. But before you can even come to a conclusion, there's a boom, an explosion, as you're sent launched back into the foggy depths of the water. And we're going to take a real quick break here. I need to grab some water. Just like 5 minutes. Grab some water. Go to the restroom if you need to. Okay. And when we come back, we'll be doing for the finale.
BRB.
Yeah.
How's it going? It's just me and you, chat. Patreon viewers, everyone's gone. It's just me and you. Secret message. I don't know if it's gonna get cut out or not. I just wanted to thank you for supporting. It helps. Hope you're enjoying this. Yeah.
I am back.
Oh fuck.
Just smoke bombs out of here. How you guys liking the session?
Good. It's going smooth.
Yeah, I'm not dead yet.
Yeah. That's always the upside.
I really do love that I specifically make it so my stands aren't good in 1v1 fights, and then Christian throws me especially in 1v1 fights.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's the best. And man, thank God Twilight Zone didn't have an ally. Because holy shit, that stand becomes exponentially stronger when it has an ally.
No, Twilight Zone, yeah.
Okay, so back.
Fuck.
Let's go.
Ready to fucking go? Is Burn back too? Let's see.
I don't think so.
I don't think Burn's back.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Make me think there, Christian boy.
Yeah, good job balancing between. I know it's probably difficult to fucking do 2 fights at once and have to think about what you're gonna do in both of them. But you're doing pretty good. I'm also confusing myself. I'm jumbling a lot because I'm like, what was going on right now?
Whoa.
But that's fine.
It's Twilight Zone, dude. Twilight Zone's fucking with it.
Yeah, my fucking with my vocabulary. I
How
can't.
does Twilight Zone work? I don't get it. Man, Al is dead again. I can't believe it.
Damn.
always got to keep happening.
Guess I'll die.
Guess I'll die.
My plan, if we didn't turn on the plot wheels, the cutscene there, was Al has a flashlight
Yeah.
that is, in theory, waterproof because it's an expensive one and technology, 2224. So what I would do was I was going to jump into the water if the user was
Oh.
still there.
Don't worry.
And,
I've got an idea.
yeah, I would turn on the flashlight and use the darkness of the ocean to spread my stand around in the water to make the most terrifying version of Year of the Cat possible.
Sea Monster Cthulhu, Year of the Cat.
Yup. It
Alright,
is a
let's
very
see.
versatile stand.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right, we're ready to go again. All right.
Let's go.
So, let me just grab something real fast.
So it is written. I wish it was as powerful as it.
All right. I think this is the track I want. No, wait. Let's go grab the track. It's the best one. It's the best one for things like this. Hang on.
Neo Sharkrello.
This is the one, I think. Yep. Let me just drag that down.
Neo Sharkrello Exard Rev 2.
Okay. So, Al,
Yes.
you're floating in the ocean. The air has been knocked out of you, and you're in that period pre-death almost. That thing where you're feeling the choking water pouring around
Time
you.
slow down.
Yeah, time slowing down as your mind is racing, as you feel the burning sensation of water pouring into your lungs. This is not a good spot. Even still, you don't feel like that's been the worst, and you try to think. You know it's important to think. That's all you tell right now. You need to think about it. That period back there.
The only thing I've ever been good at. Think.
You start to think and let your mind wander. You remember your discussion with Yin about all this, why you're here. You need to remember. Yang Sun Yu. Why did they keep him alive? Why did all of this need to happen? You're hoping to find your answers here in this cordoned off pier. And as you think about it, your own mind drifts back to previously. Your own life. You can profile Mary. You have a general understanding. She's a goddamn robot. You swear to God she's a goddamn robot. You basically have confirmed that almost. And perhaps in a robotic way of thinking, she's, in some regards, predictable. She tries her best to not be. But in some aspects, she's always working towards a few certain goals by what you piece together. You're quite familiar with them. After all, a long, long time ago, you used to work, at least in some regards, near her. She wasn't the CEO at the time. She was in the company. And remember, she had an excessive interest in the scientific field. She always had questions and desires for new projects. But you were on the verge of something, a breakthrough, study of dark matter. It was incredible. You were a scientist! And you had a decent life, all things considered. Good friends, good people, willing to work for the company and discover anything. You would have worked with Mary. You probably would have at the time, no problem. And yet, at that moment, everyone around that project died. Everyone you knew. All it was one fatal accident. One that was easily pinned on you. One that ended up disgracing your name, your license, everything, scientifically. you were a nobody after that. And that's why you're alive. It's because they needed someone to take that fall. They needed someone to be the shitbag that Mary could hide behind for what she did that night to you and your research team. But at the end of the day, the reason they didn't need to kill you was because, well, you weren't someone of importance. At the end of the day, you had nothing. You had no proof. No matter how much you knew, you could never prove a damn thing. You've kept a low profile and under the radar. You constantly make sure you don't cause trouble for people. You only take on cases that, well, up until this point at least, you've tried to only take on cases that wouldn't end up pissing off the higher-ups, even if you were trying to do the good thing. You've been dragged into it. Now you're here. But then why wasn't that the same for him? He killed a CEO. Unlike you, there's no reason for him to be alive. Again, you feel that anger surging inside of yourself. Why did they keep him alive? Why? And then it kind of hits you. Of course. Of course. Of course he was kept alive. Because they weren't done with him yet. Not just in terms of a hitman. There are tons of hitmen you could hire. They could still try to kill him at some point. But no matter how risky, no matter how strong, an entire corporation could take out anyone in the blink of the eye if they applied enough resources towards it. As long as they knew what to do, where to go, and how to take someone out. So why? What did they need him for? And as that thought drifts in your head, you feel like, despite not remembering, you can piece it together. You were doing something here. And you realize that in your hand, this entire time, you were gripping your flashlight very hard. Your very expensive flashlight. Your waterproof flashlight that hangs at your side pretty nicely. It can shine a light even in the darkness here. And while naturally the first conclusion would be, oh, I know what this plan is. I'd hop in the water, and in that moment, I click on the flashlight. My stand spreads wide across this entire ocean floor. Year of the Cat is spread to encompass the ocean itself, and now you could try to think of some counterattack. Except, in that moment, your light casts down in your own shadow, as you point it back in yourself, reflects against the floor of this place. A relic buried here. Something that was sitting here without purpose, having forgotten its drive, having those memories stolen out from under it, yet still its primary purpose kept. So long as it knew what it was doing, but had no idea how to go, no leads to follow, it would remain dormant in this spot. And so, as you cast down, you realize your plan is all coming together. As the trace thoughts in your head were reflected by counting stars, reflected into the surface and the sand beneath your very body, even on the verge of death you had a plan. The thing that Year of the Cat saw, drifting underneath, hidden underneath the shadows of this pier. You finally found the secret, the remaining symbol that's stuck beneath J City's beaches. The thing that could tear down an organization if let wild, but instead kept targeted to one individual who constantly it was robbed vision of. In that moment, you feed it those memories it once wanted. The memories of Yang you collected pour into its very body. And it lifts you from beneath the ocean as you find yourself being rocketed back up to the pier. And as you make those movements, Al, you feel yourself land against the pier, choking out water as much as you can. You find yourself... She turns... What? She seems a bit intrigued by that, honestly, as she turns and...
Here's a fun thing about chasing ghosts. Al gets up from his knees. There are some occasions where the ghost starts chasing you back.
As you say that, you feel the growing presence of something behind you, having 2 years to regenerate its power, as you face off directly across from you with the one who seeks to tear away both of your purposes away from you. Roll initiative fresh for me.
Let's go.
Holy shit! Oh, that's perfect. All right, so you and the alchemist go on the same turn. Let's see for Jab though.
11.
Let's see. Nope. All right. So, coordinating yourself together, the alchemist begins shifting and moving. In that other time, you were able to peer back slightly. You know its name now, Beware the Alchemist. But you have nothing to fear. When you climbed up, you felt a connection. This thing's goal. Despite its twisted sense of justice, you both still fight for the sake of justice in this moment. And with that in mind, it connects together with you. And it starts to move a bit forward. It reaches around and you feel it kind of slip into your coat pocket for a moment as it pulls out a rusty little lighter, one that was shifting inside of the ocean. And it tries to light a few times, having stolen that knowledge from you. And as it does it, it doesn't seem to light too well. Until it reaches up into the air, and you notice something else it took. It's to reach up and you notice that it seems to have grabbed a cigarette. It finally catches the light. The light goes on the cigarette and it holds it. But the cigarette is not for smoking. As it lifts the lighter in the air and cuts into it, as suddenly it tosses the cigarette in, and the lighter catches with the spare fluid flying through the air, and a fury of flame erupts from that small bit of fluid, spreading across the docks and making a flame appear right dead center in the middle here, casting a shadow in all directions.
Year of the cat.
And your stand manifests. So, what would you like to do with Year of the Cat? A fire has been formed and you can make a shadow appear. All you have to do is, well, form that shadow.
Al will
throw.
Al will take his hat. The moment the explosion forms, he will throw his hat at her. And the hat is carrying in its shadow Year of the Cat.
As you toss the hat forward, the light seems to pick up, and the shadow cast from that new flame seems to drift around the edge of the hat. You're the cat drifting inside as eyes form all around it. And as it reaches down in front of her, the shadow cuts out just large enough that you can manage to have You're the cat shift over. And let me see what she rolls. So now, make a roll for me on that.
What do I roll, actually?
Also, get a +2, because as the alchemist's secret action, villainous action, you get a +2 when fighting the same opponents, and this is the second time it's fought this particular opponent. And since it's assisting you, I'll let you get that +2 to whatever you roll.
I'm a roll power.
All right, sounds good.
The moment Year of the Cat reaches her, it will attempt to lock her in place, and that is +2, you said.
All right, sounds good.
No.
Yeah.
No, I add a +2 to my stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So with that, you managed.
It's already.
to,
I already
16.
added a +2.
Oh, you already did. Okay, cool. That's so. With that, your stand emerges out, and as it cuts straight across, your opponent seems to recoil. She understands your stand enough to know to get out of the way of this. As she moves, she manages to pull back just in time with the assistance of her stand pulling her with a decently fast speed. The claws of Yura the cat seem to pierce out and crash around to the docks. And as that happens, she realizes just what's happening now. She sees this thing. What she thought she buried so long ago is returned and dug back up. And she knows that with both of you together here, she cannot win. And with that in mind, she starts backing up. She starts moving away and tries to flee. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As she flees, however, her stand retains guard just enough time. She needs to buy off time. And perhaps, maybe, the stand can still defeat you. All she has to do is hold you until you forget her memories and start pulling her plans once more. As this starts to happen, you notice that as you start drifting up, there's some more glowing, some more sparkling effects as, tossed out of the fog,
2 more fireworks land straight into the inferno here as they try to basically blow up this fire and spread it around to make the shadows less centralized. To sort of maybe break it up, maybe cause this flame to disperse and spread into the water. So let's see how that goes for them. Because that's that. Let's see. Decision. But the enemy stand user will add a brains bonus to this using your villainous action or villainous plot. So it's a 9. You just got to beat a 9.
What am I rolling?
Actually, you know what?
She should be rolling against the fire. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Actually, you know what I'll do? I know how I'll post this. As she launches these into the air, let's just... That seems good. Suddenly, the fireworks seem to be cut straight up. Their fuses ending up being kind of severed as they fall to the ground before they reach the fire, dull. As the alchemist launched prongs forward to cut straight into them and sever them before they ever reached their target. An attack he learned, a projectile that he could use from a motorcycle chase with a certain assassin. An assassin that it now knows is dead, which means it begins to move forward once more. All it has to do is hunt its next target down the chain, and it understands exactly who ordered that hit. So, next up is your turn.
Okay. Al will run, jump over the ledge, dive in the water with his flashlight, and I would like to use the shadows of the ocean to control the water currents, using the shadow of the water to control it. It's weird, but
it takes a lot. It might even be a bit too much for your stand to do, considering how much volume of the water is there.
Yeah,
But
I don't
awesome.
want to control all the ocean.
Yeah.
I just need a tentacle.
That's fair. You can make that work at least.
Just
yeah.
A
Alright.
giant, inky, shadowy tentacle covered in water, dripping, covers the pier, attempting to crush it. Its power not really strong, for as Year of the Cat leaves the water, it loses its power because it doesn't have a shadow anymore. But propelling through the water, through the reflection of the fire in the water and the shadows that kaleidoscopic effect creates, Al is simply attempting to leave a single node of Year of the Cat on her so that she would be able to be easily tracked down.
Nice. Good. Thanks for solving plot holes, Angra. You managed to launch it forward, and give me a roll. She doesn't have her stand for this. That's just gonna be fucking... Yeah, I think you do it. I think you fucking do it for free. Oh, fuck. Yeah. You, yeah, no, you do it. You managed to land that node. A single aspect of Year of the Cat. So long as you keep up your distance, your stand has a good range. You'll be able to track her as she departs. And as that happens, she manages to leave, and you crawl yourself out and you notice that standing right there, closing the distance, this other stand manages to carve up Twilight Zone into little pieces. This stand, an automated stand, fighting another stand that seems to have some sort of properties like that. Disconnected from its user in some ways. It seems to fade away, having been injured. And with that...
A ghost chase ending in a puppet fight. Funny. Not really.
So, you crawl out and find yourself sitting there. And then, as that happens, you sort of regain your bearings a little bit. Just drop you back fresh. As Al. And then we'll shrink him down a second. And also got to make sure that you are uncatted, because Steven's left like a coward. It was all a part of the plan.
Year of the Cat's range spans kilometers. We've got all the time in the world. Except not really, but we got a lot of time. You get you don't you, Stevens? I noticed Stevens is not there. Fuck off.
You grumble a bit, understanding how you've basically been abandoned. Except you aren't particularly abandoned. After all, staring right across from you, almost implacably, a stand sits there, and it almost seems to size you up. Its inhuman eyes drifting across as you see this thing close. Surprisingly thin, but covered in a thick carapace that seems to have grown out from its body. And despite being unable to talk, despite having the most minimal of intelligences that any sort of entity could be, you can sense something. After all, when this thing looked back at you, your stand, counting stars, it wasn't a one-way talk. In this case, this thing had a rudimentary intelligence, a stand acting on its own, having acquired its own sentience to the smallest degree. A sentience that was robbed, but now it makes sense. In this way, the memories of where, what, and how Yang was taken from it. And now that that's been restored, hypothetically it could go on its next task, the task of hunting down all that would kill its master. But Yang is dead. Now that it knows that, the next one up the list, it's going to need to find that person. And, luckily for you, perhaps, it seems to be considering JamiroCorp its target right now. And it seems to have had plenty leads that it seems to have pulled out from your mind by counting stars. This form wordlessly departs, despite lacking any semblance of a will beyond its objective. There is some form of understanding that you can form with this entity. You could admire its purpose, at the least, even
Despite
if it is
everything,
monster.
Despite everything, the symbol remains, huh?
In the end, it does. And as you reach in, you go to smoke a cigarette, and then you realize, fuck, hey, grab. Something hits you on the side of the head, and falling to the ground, you notice your pack of cigarettes, taken from you, has been returned, tossed by a tentacle. You pick up the cigarettes and
I walk
move
over
on
here.
over. Yeah, light
Light
it on the fire.
On the inferno.
Yeah. And then you're like, fuck, it's 2 kilometers.
Wet
You can pick up a new
cigarettes,
lighter.
fuck.
You can do it. It's fine.
Wet cigarettes. Fucking sucks, but it's fine. I spend a lot of money on these. Whatever.
As you depart, once more, you take steps on into J City.
Hey,
And-
you asshole cat! The fight is over.
You say that out loud, and emerging out from the fog, something does seem to claw its way out of the
Ow,
pits
ow,
and make its way
ow.
forward.
Life is pain. Life is suffering.
Yeah,
Why
you
do I have to
you
endure
see
this?
it. You see it pop out from underneath the pier and run up, hop onto your shoulder as you and your cat Stevens once again follow the trail. Mystery solved, and another task to continue. One more mystery. After you meet up with those group, you'll be able to assort their means, how they are, their character. You're not too afraid of that anymore. And then from there, you find the mysterious figure archive. You step off the pier.
As
Yeah.
Al keeps walking onwards, he now knows the reason why Yang was left alive all this time. But still, something doesn't quite fully click for him. Al ponders for a while walking, and he comes back to that theory of inner conflict within J-Corp. That stays on his mind for a little bit. He thinks back to his contractor, shrugs, and goes grab a new lighter and a new pack of cigarettes.
And so the tale comes to a close here. A mystery solved, a grudge unburied, and a task that will bleed over into the future of J City. For as our daring protagonist said, at the end, no matter how much is wiped away, no matter what memories remain of this world, and who attempts to hide the truth, at the very end, Unlike concepts we apply to money, to power, to fame, to importance, some things persevere. Some symbols remain in this world. And with that, we call this tale to a close, to be continued in mainline Carbon Interface. Good job,
shit.
Angra. You did great.
Thank you. Oh man.
Yeah.